Hi everyone, this is Bobby from bn-games.com, and we're here doing another classic capture. Today we are playing Chocobo Racing, the import version, which is known as, I guess the subtitle is, The Road to the Spirit World.
X.
Yeah, if you're wondering why I'm playing, or why we're playing the import copy versus the English copy, is because this one was actually fairly cheap compared to the English copy, which runs 20 to 30 bucks, and they're essentially the same game. Pretty much. So yeah, after this little colorful intro here, it's basically a Final Fantasy themed kart racer like Mario Kart, but it's not Mario Kart. I'll tell you that now.
No.
It is a bit of a sad cash-in, but it does have a story mode. From a visual perspective, I think some of the art style is fairly interesting, but from gameplay perspective, no, not so much. It does not hold up very well. And from what I've read, even reviewers at the time felt it was a cheap cash-in, which on some level, well, yeah, I would say so. I mean, there was plenty of kart racers for most series back then. Besides Mario Kart, there was Diddy Kong Racing, which we've already skewed. There was also
Crash Team
Racing, which was decent. We haven't done that yet. There were others. I just can't remember them. Star Wars had a kart racer. So it's not surprising that Final Fantasy had one, and this is based off of the original Final Fantasy series, not 7 and on, which all had their own themes. This took a lot of inspiration from 1 through 4, mostly. This right here is a little story piece. I like the little notebook page thing it does for the story mode. I actually don't show any of the story races.
Pop-up book?
Well, it's the same goddamn thing.
A notebook and a pop-up book are not the same thing.
It is to me. Whatever. You got a little story mode. It tells you, hey, you're a big chicken with roller skates, and
that's okay.
Why are his roller skates motorcycles? I'd like to know.
And I think that's Sid. I just skipped that. I'm just going to show you the races.
Me and
Spyro.
That's exactly what I thought.
I'm player 1, Marco's player 2. You have different power-ups you can select from in the versus mode.
Which we determined the only useful one is the one that's in the middle.
Yeah.
One player has selected.
The boost.
All of the other ones are kind of sort of useless.
Yep. And there's no explanation on why clouds and carpets can skid if you hold X and turn, you can do power slide, which, there's no explanation why floating vehicles are allowed to do this, number 1. Number 2, which
it's called air braking.
What I don't like about this game is you're limited. If you abuse it, from what I've seen, it makes you spin out, which kind of sucks, because that's it's a mainstay, I think, of every kart racer, that you can, do those slides unimpeded.
Well, that's not necessarily true. I mean, look at one of the very first good racing games, like Sight Bike. If you use the speed thing too much, he fell off his bike.
Yeah, but that
was a race. This is a kart.
It's a kart racer. It's cornering. Every game does that now.
Hey, you had to corner up and down those little mountains.
You know what bothered me the most, I think?
What?
The lack of visual speed. It doesn't look like you're going particularly fast at any given point.
That is true.
And there are some parts where you just seem to slow down. Like there, if you look at
yeah, it looks like you're barely moving.
And then you go there, and it looks like you're speeding up. I hate that inconsistency.
I think that has to do really with the coloring. I mean,
the other two things that bother me is, number 1, there are not enough power-ups, power-up points where you actually get them. These power-up spots are very sparse and few.
And they don't seem to do a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, there's very little that any of these things do. Number 2, for versus mode, you can't play with AI. You can't have AI kart racers at the same time. It's 1 versus 1, which frankly sucks. I mean, 1 versus 1, I guess, is okay to some extent, but that's not much of a challenge, especially. I don't know. That's not much of a challenge, period. You can't have any other kart racers. Obviously, when you play the single player or the GP mode, you have, all the AI kart racers, which I can tell you are not very difficult anyway. They're not very smart. So it's disappointing in many realms, but I will say this, still better than Diddy Kong.
Much
Racing.
better.
The English copy, like I said, goes for a lot of money, $20 to $30 easy. More if it's sealed and in the original in good condition. It's not worth it. Not worth it. Just because it has Square Enix on the title, on the cover, does not mean it's worth that kind of money. This was definitely a cash in on every level in every respect. And this right here, there's a limited number of tracks. I think there's only like 6 or 7. Only 3 of them are even halfway decent. This is one of them that have turns and actually make you want to, have to race through them and stuff. There's like the first 3 are real simple, almost figure 8 tracks, or circles, oval tracks with very little going on for them. So it's not fun at all. And I know they're supposed to be semi-Final Fantasy themed. I don't know what this level's supposed to indicate. I think it's supposed to be like White Mage's level. I didn't know White Mage was a cake count or something.
There's some points, I think what bothers me the most, that there are some points where you just seem to come to a dead stop.
Yeah.
And you don't know if it's intentional, if it's the system's not keeping up, or if something else is going on. It's just maybe like a visual thing where you think you're stopping. I don't know. In every respect, Mario Kart still holds the king of racers, of kart racers at least. Yeah. They're just a lot more fun to play. They're easy to find. They don't go for particularly much. They hold up their value well, but they don't. For the price you're going to pay for this, you can get Mario Kart Double Dash or Mario Kart for the Wii. It's a better game. You have 4 players. You have a lot more maps, a lot more variety. I don't know. It doesn't hold up very well.
I think also if you're a PlayStation fan and don't want to own a Nintendo console or
Crash Team Racing,
just go tap Crash Team Racing, which is a vastly superior game to this.
It has a lot of levels and a single player mode actually.
And you can pick it up for like $5.
Yep. Or you can pick it up on PSN even.
Yeah, it's actually on PSN for $5. This right here is I think it's supposed to be the most difficult track control-wise, and if you've played any kind of kart racer, this isn't shit. I mean, it really isn't. And I think it's supposed to be Ifrit themed because there's fire and lava, but it's not interesting on any level. And none of the karts, I should mention, seem to have any sort of advantage. None of the characters, they all seem to be exactly the same, other than just what they're riding is different.
If you look down at the bottom screen, you can see how the big clunky cars do not hold up well against walls at all.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of fun. We played a couple races and we were like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, it's probably going to sit on the shelf after this video and never be used again. Good for the collection, obviously, but
I'll take it off your hands.
That's okay. And like I said, this is the import copy, which I picked up for like $10. It's probably cheaper to get the import copy, I think. It was actually fairly popular in Japan, from what I've read as well. I don't see the reason why, but especially since Mario is native there. But it doesn't hold up. It's not a lot of fun. Visually isn't very impressive. There's no speed. What else should we say?
It's bland. It's not very interesting.
But if we're going to give it any kind of credit at all,
it's better
than Diddy Kong.
It has movables.
Yeah, I think that's what counts. Movables. And Black Mage. Even though Black Mage rides a cloud, that doesn't make any sense. Should be like riding lightning, I think, personally. Just lightning, not the cloud. That's what it comes down. That's not the first time you hit me with anything. This entire thing. Nice spun out there.
And you still win.
Yeah. Alright, everyone. Well, this is Classic Capture for Chocobo Racing. This is the import copy. Probably shouldn't buy it. I don't suggest it. It's really cheap. There's a Japanese copy. If not, the US copy is overpriced on every single level. So please subscribe and let us know what you think. Thank you.